Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, kings and queens, all royalty, and those of distinguished honors, I welcome you to the State of the Union Address. I'm glad to see you all in good health. And let's get right to it. All my life I've been in darkness, and at times I forget that I am the light at the end of the tunnel. And on this new day, this new era, I come before you to bring a new world order. Where we put our egos aside, put our pride to the side, and unite like we always were meant to. Now, no longer will we be divided. And from this day forth, we shall all fall under a new banner, a new flag. Before this country was established, some may believe that me, my kind, were brought over on slave ships. Now, as we dive deep and I reveal info to you, things that I've learned from the Ascended Masters as I've become one myself. America was never unoccupied. As we are now learning that we Black Americans were here before those supposed slave ships. Now we're learning that we were here, that we are the base race. I don't want people to get in their feelings, take things to heart, let the ego get back in it, let racism play a part. These things don't exist no more. No longer will we be trapped in a race war. The race war is over. Now we unite all skin, all tone, all cultures, all religions, all backgrounds, under a new flag, a new banner. We will now be known and called the United States of Atlantis. Before this continent, this area, this planet, this plane was called the names that you know of. It was called Atlantis. We Black Americans, and I say black loosely, we are from the mighty Atlantean army. And we are pre-flood. We were here before any settlers appeared on this land. And I want to make it clear to you, my fellow Black Americans, that you are a mixture. What do I mean by that? The Atlanteans were here. And then along came the sons of Japheth. They came across from Russia, Siberia, the Bering Strait and the land bridge. And then they mixed with us, almost turning our 9 ether to 8 ether hair. It's all in the hair. What do I mean by this? I don't mean to exclude any of my Caucasian brethren, but I mean to shed some light on who we are so we can step forth and unite. Now, after this first mixture, then along came the ones who ruled Europe in the Dark Ages. Some may have been misinformed, miseducated to believe that Caucasians ruled Europe for the most of the duration. But as we find out with facts and research and digging deep and diving down the rabbit hole, that isn't true. The Moors and Jacobites ruled Europe. And at this time, for other events that are not going to be explained now, they fled to West Africa. They fled Spain. Those Sephardic Jews found a home in America, Atlantis, with the original Atlanteans, blessed be the Thoth, went over to Egypt and helped rebuild Egypt after the flood. So of course they felt this land was their second home. So as these fleeting true Israelites, Jacobites, Moors, even those of the direct descendants of the Lemurians, they came to America. This is where we have the phrase indentured servants. Now let's get into the other side of the coin. My fellow white Americans, you come about into existence by 2 or 3 different ways. You are the descendants of Esau. You are the descendants of Japheth. And you are the descendants of Yaqub's Albanoids. Now that we have that established, America was not under rule of Caucasian until the 1800s. The first one settling over here to America, Atlantis, with a black Sephardic Jews and the Moors. They were fleeing for Europe, for what reasons we will not explain here. So, now that we had that established, what this means is the United States government has been waging war on the people of this continent. The American Indian, the indigenous Indian. The mix of sons of Japheth, the Atlantean, and the Jacobite Moor. Now, let's get to business. The United States of Atlantis charges the U.S. government of treason, treachery, and among others, war crimes against the indigenous of this continent and of the world. We now come at the State of Union to liberate the people, give them hope, and break the spell. I seek to wake you up. And now, with the power, in the names and the honor of the Most High, and the thoughts of the Blessed One, and through the spirit of King Powhatan, and now, with the power, in the names and the honor of the Most High, and the thoughts of the Blessed One, King Matthew, young god of Atlantis, issue a warrant for the leaders of this government that is still acting as invaders and occupying land that does not belong to them, to set up a mock government that will be overthrown. Now, all those that will stand by the old system shall face trial by the people, and we should move on with our structure and our greatness that is bestowed upon us. We will instill new laws and legislation, put in place overseers to filter out the old ideas. We will begin to elect the greatest minds, the smartest minds, the most compassionate people, innovators, groundbreakers. We will make them the leaders of this planet and any that we will conquer from this day forth. No more will we looking at things of race. These things don't matter anymore. Only the strongest minds, the bravest hearts, ones of righteous. There's no more black or white. There will only be right and just, good and evil, righteousness and unrighteousness. And if you fall on the side that is not our side, you will feel our wrath. The time is now. The hold you have on humanity is broken today. We will put in place overseers over groups like the FDA and food and liquor departments to bring more healthier foods, healthier agriculture, start to clear up the poisons that we've been getting fed for all our lives, so we can wake up our minds. We will start to build a better man, a better woman. We now are in the age of redemption. We will also implement a type of social system where everyone will get a paid income, guaranteed, work or no work. We seek to end hunger. We seek to end homelessness. These ideals will do these things. You will also get bonuses upon your skills and upon your talents. They allow you to have more credit, more stipends. We'll have more of a social score. Those with a low social score will be ostracized from the community. Those who seek to hurt women and children, you'll be ostracized from the community. You will be like the leper chased into the caves. This time you will not be able to come back. So now, I wanted to come before y'all to bring y'all hope, not fear. Nothing to be alarmed about. This will be a smooth transition. For this is the time that we've all been waiting for. Put our petty differences to the side. So I hope in all glory that you take heed to my word. From this day forth, though, we should be known as the United States of Atlantis, under the Annunaki Empire of the Galactic Federation. All who doesn't fall under our flag and banner need the wrath and the strength and the human resilience. We are the collective young gods. And I mean you peace, not war. So for our greatness and our heart, this has been on my heart for years now. It's now time to take this country in a new direction and this planet into a new era. I expect the United Nations to address me in the mighty Atlantean army within 48 hours. And I give a little advice. My Caucasian brothers, I see the look in your eyes when you look at us sometimes. You're waiting for us to take leadership. You're waiting for us to lead the charge. And a little more info I want to drop to you about information I've learned. The lost souls of the planet Malbec. They've been granted reincarnation in our density, our planet, of the second and third densities and dimensions. This is why verses of the Bible were very potent. Verses like, we wrestle not against flesh and blood, because it's deeper than skin. And now all my brethren from all races, all nationalities, all cultures, let's rise together, take charge, and show them the strength of the mighty Atlantean army. Peace to the gods.
You're trying to save. But until we do, these people are still a part of that system, and that makes them our enemy. You have to understand, most of these people are not ready to be unplugged. And many of them are so inert, so hopelessly dependent on the system, that they will fight to protect it.
The time has come. Execute Order 66.
We have been lied to about who we are. We're not African. None of us are. The Africans came way later, 1900s later.
Yeah, my mic don't sound like that no more.
We were not brought over here by way of slave ships. I put that on screen. I showed you that there was no such thing as a slave ship. I put that on screen. Number one, they couldn't come straight across the Atlantic with the ocean gyres there. That's number one. They will be lost at sea. Number two, you're not about to fit 100, 200, nobody on a sailboat. They can't carry that much weight on a sailboat. Don't forget that they're calling them ships, but they were boats. Wherries, rowboats, those are small. The cargo ships came in the 1850s, and the first 3 cargo ships were owned by 3 different people, and those cargo ships were not being utilized commercially. The commercial use of the cargo ships came in the late 1850s. By that time, you had what, 10, 15 years more until slavery was allegedly abolished? And you mean to tell me that you squeezed in 12 that's the original number. Their original number was 12.5 million enslaved Africans captured from Africa, and you brought them over here to America within a 15-year span. How the hell did you do that? Please tell me. I would love to know. And then I want you to tell me the names of the people that did that. Because once again, I mean, they got statue after statue up. Speaking of statue, we talked about the Statue of Liberty and what the true meaning was about that. If you did not see that video, I suggest you go back and watch it. But they got statue after statue up of Confederate soldiers, this, Union Army, that, and blah, 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 blah. This is a historical marker, this. This museum is this, and this isn't. You do not have the names of your heroes that enabled slavery the way that we were told. Listen to how deep that is. You're not telling us the names of the people that made it seem as if you won some type of war by capturing enslaved Africans and bringing them over here. Some people can name ships. Some of them say it was 37 ships. Some people say it was 5. Some people say it's 25. Some people say that one of the names of the ship was Jesus. I told you they weren't ships. When you start talking about cargo ships, once again, don't forget that you're talking about
the 1850s. Let's go.
And don't get it twisted. People came, but it wasn't you. Well, me and my wife tell you in these Statue of Liberty videos.
It was foreigners coming.
It was foreigners coming.
It was nothing but foreigners coming. Look at the Statue of Liberty. That's who came. Look at them. Look at them. Look at them. Nothing but foreigners. You cannot tell me any different. We got pictures. We got records. We got evidence. This cannot be told any different. It was nothing but foreigners. We did not come over here over no boats. They did. That's the truth. By the boatloads. And it was way later. And they got it. They got it coming over here by that what? That Statue of Liberty. That lighthouse. We'll keep the light on for you. Motel 6 style. Yay, we in America. And they hopped right off that boat, huh? Come on, man. Wasn't about liberation.
I was up in Pine Ridge.
Nah, let me skip
Russell
up.
Means.
No, not again. Okay, I'll let Kwame play.
That's how they're controlling people. It's so many people want to speak like me. It's so many people want to speak like you. But if they go to their jobs and let's say they agree with you, let's say they wanted to say, I like Trump, I support Trump, they would have been fired.
Yep.
You know, if they say, I don't agree with abortions, they're going to be fired. If they say my opinion is blah, 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 which an opinion shouldn't hold no weight.
Yep.
Company policy we have to get rid of because that's what's controlling America.
And our way of thinking. Right. And it's not, and I had to get delivered from it too. Like literally everything that they told us is a lie. right? They got us up here thinking that all of us from Africa. I know I'm finna get ready to ruffle some feathers right now. I'm sorry, but my grandmother never told me we were from Africa. A lot of us are Indians, Black, Cherokee, Blackfoot Indians.
I'm geeky. We was already over here.
This is what I'm saying. So,
people don't like really.
This means, in the case of an American Negro, born in that glittering republic, and in the moment you are born, since you don't know any better, every stick and stone and every face is white, and since you have not yet seen a mirror, you suppose that you are too. It comes as a great shock around the age of 5 or 6 or 7 to discover the flag to which you
to see this, and especially with it being on a larger scale. So I'm going to be, paying attention to what I send to them and paying attention to the reaction because I'm in control. I got creative control, which is excellent. And then, sooner or later, we're going to be moving into the movie.
Set it on fire.
This means, in the case of an American Negro, born in that glittering republic, and in the moment you are born, since you don't know any better, every stick and stone and every face is white, and since you have not yet seen a mirror, you suppose that you are too. It comes as a great shock around the age of 5 or 6 or 7 to discover that the flag to which you have pledged allegiance, along with everybody else, has not pledged allegiance to you. It comes as a great shock to discover that Gary Cooper killing off the Indians when you were rooting for Gary Cooper, that the Indians were you, that the Indians were you, that the Indians were you, that the Indians were you.
They get mad about that. They get mad. Talking about something, we took that out of context when he came out of his own mouth and said that. When it comes to the American Negro, yes, he's in a room full of white folks. See, that's what I'm talking about. That's their alpha. Them pan goofies mad. I'm trying to tell you. Floyd Mayweather
is not our home. Let me let that hang in the atmosphere for a while.
That's right.
I said at this gathering of the masters, Africa is not your home. It's not our home.
I broke down how they took our lands, when they took our lands. I even gave you verbatim.
My office don't look like that no more.
Time periods and all. There's no excuse. And all those people that's yelling and screaming, talking about Africa this, Africa that, go there. We not stopping you. Go to Africa. Go live there. See if you can blend in. Ain't gonna be nobody standing there, welcome my brother, or you are American. There's no problem. Everything you need is here. Everything you need. Follow me. And ain't gonna be nothing like that. not, Slim. You gotta get in where you fit in, just like everybody else out there. You think it's gonna be a way better living in Africa? They fooled the people like that went on ahead and agreed with the American Colonization Society. They made pretend like it was gonna be a better way of living in West Africa because certain parts were not fully populated, but they were fully colonized. Oh, you gonna leave one colonized land to another one and think that's gonna be a better way of living? That's why it was less than 15,000 of them that went. Everybody else was like, kick rocks. What Negro problem?
You don't have to live in the slums to care, Melanie.
Look.
You don't have to
listen, this went jive viral on my YouTube, and y'all should see these content. I made it a short. Y'all should see these comments from these bots, these pan goofy bots, right? It's hilarious to me. But this is, this is it's the truth. It is the truth. Wait, how'd I go? Oh man, I hit the wrong button. My bad, y'all. My bad.
You don't have to live in the slums to care, Melanie. You don't have to try to be something you're not.
Oh, God, I can't stand this.
Trying to be something I'm not?
Trying to be proud of my African heritage? That's being something I'm not, then fine.
Wow.
That's being something I'm not, then fine.
And that's how they are, right now.
I'd rather be dead than be like you. Stuck-up nigger who's ashamed of being black.
Miss Tyson.
My grandmother was a full-blooded Iroquois.
Let it sink in.
Iroquois. A full-blooded Iroquois. I know all of that, Mama. They don't know.
She know that, though.
I am alive because of the blood of a people who never scraped or begged or apologized for what they were. They asked only one thing of this world: to be allowed to be. And I learned through the blood of these people that black isn't beautiful. It isn't ugly. It isn't kinky hair. It isn't straight hair. Black is just black.
I love that part.
It broke my heart when you changed your name.
She changed her name. From what?
I gave you my grandmother's name, a woman who bore 9 children and educated them all. Who held off 6 white men with a shotgun when they tried to drag one of her sons off to jail for not knowing his place. And you
had to do what?
I had to reach into an African dictionary.
Huh?
To find a name that would make you proud.
Stuck face. That's but that's like, that's one of them ones right there. I wanted to go ahead and warm up the conversation with that. And whole time I'm over here, I'm noticing that we've been live for 2 hours. Going on 2.5. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna be playing some videos tomorrow, but I'm gonna touch on engine and a couple of other things tomorrow that I want to bring to.
So they said they know to Cromwell's agent. Jamaica could be conquered with little resistance, and they pleaded their assistance. The following year, a Jew from Nevis led 36 English ships into the harbor, and 2 local Jews negotiated and signed a peace treaty surrendering the island to England. The treaty exiled the Spanish, and Cromwell invited Jamaica's Portugals to stay as openly as Jews. All right, so you hear the whole background as why and how Jamaica became a territory of England, and it had mainly and only and basically almost all entirely due to the fact that the Jews were living there Sephardic Jewish Moorish people. And so they needed help from the England to get them out. So they made a treaty with England. All right, we'll do business. Let us stay here. Kick out the Catholic Empire from here. Welcomed by the English, Jews from all over the New World shed their converso cloaks and emigrated to Jamaica. Jamaica, Jamaica. Yeah. Knowing the history there, knowing the thousands of Jews that fled there, and there were thousands of them who were people of color. These same Jews had inheritance and descendants who were hundreds and hundreds of thousands, right? They multiply. And then eventually, you know, the whole Africa out of Africa, and the Kunta Kinte story comes in, and then you forget, you know, like this book said in the beginning, an unknown part of history, especially here in Jamaica. Jews from all over the New World shed their converso cloaks. They don't have to hide anymore, and they immigrated to Jamaica. The community soon included ship owners from Mexico and Brazil, traders from Peru and Colombia, and ship captains and pilots from Nevis and Barbados, all right? They set up shop in Jamaica. These Moorish, Jewish, crypto Jews, crypto Muslims. Together, their knowledge of New World trade was unsurpassed. By 1660, Jamaica had become the Jews' principal haven in the New World. Jamaica, all right? Rastafari, tribe of Judah, where they getting all that influence from, huh? Unlike the small, isolated isles in the Eastern Caribbean, Jamaica was a major island in the middle of the shipping lanes, an ideal base from which to strike at Spanish shipping and well positioned to engage in contraband trade with the Spanish Main. Soon after the English conquest, Jamaica's Jews convinced the island's new leaders that the best way to defend the colony and have it prosper was to invite the pirates of the Caribbean to move there. The pirates of the Caribbean, Jack Sparrow and all of them, right? Johnny Depp and all of them, right? The pirates of the Caribbean. Hey, welcome. All right, who were these pirates of the Caribbean? Again, Moorish Jews, Moorish Muslims, cryptos. The Spanish will think twice about attacking Jamaica if its principal port was the home base of the feared buccaneers of the West Indies, the Buccaneers. Buccaneers. In return for a safe harbor, these pirates, the Brethren of the Coast, that's what they called themselves, look at that, became Jamaica's defense force and piracy its principal industry. You see, there's a background to all of this, and it has to do with people of color, these Iberian people, Sephardic, this whole Inquisition, the whole diaspora of the Jews and Moors from Spain. In the 1660s, Port Royal, with its wealthy Jewish merchants, ship owners, and synagogue, was known as the treasure house of the Indies, for all the booty brought there, catering to a transient pirate population with one bar and brothel for every 8 persons. The pirate capital acquired a reputation of the world's wickedest city, the pirate capital, all right? Port Royal, the pirate capital in Jamaica, because of Sephardic Moorish people. The wickedest city, pirate capital. Within 15 years, pirate raids from Jamaica on the Spanish Main, organized and financed by the merchants of Port Royal, broke the back of the Spanish Empire. And Henry Morgan, the Jews found their Joshua. In Henry Morgan, the Jews found what? Their savior, their Joshua, their deliverer, right? Not savior, but deliverer. The ones who were going to deliver them, right? The Buccaneer Admiral's 6 raids on Spanish ports, culminating in the burning of the Golden City of Panama, brought the Spanish Empire to its knees. Henry Morgan helped all these people. In the Treaty of Madrid in 1670, Spain acceded to Europe's right to settle the New World. All right, the Jews were finally free to be Jews, right? The 17th century commenced with Jews outlawed in most of Europe and the New World. It ended with their freedom. The participants in their liberation struggle are known. They were the children of refugees from the Inquisition, children of refugees, people of color fleeing, refuge from Inquisition, who in the early 1600s, after having lived underground their lives in Spain and Portugal, after being underground in Spain and Portugal, settled in Amsterdam, accepted by the Dutch as a valued merchant class. They raised their children in the free air of Holland. They became Dutch, right? Where a select group of them, following the example of their warrior rabbi, took it upon themselves to change things. Over the course of half a century of leadership, 1623 to 75, they invaded the New World, battled the Inquisition, and orchestrated their people's freedom. All right? a tale. There's a tale. There's a happy ending. Warriors, triumphant people, right? All right. But what about the indigenous people of America? All right. Again, this was not about color. These were people of color. And in their pursuit of freedom, they did take over a lot of the land over here. So it's not about complexion. It's not about hating these people or saying, oh, you guys are invaders or anything. But it's just history. You know, we got to acknowledge every part of our ancestry and genealogy. All right. So that was the prologue.
The indigenous peoples of the Americas, as well as the natives of Siberia and Russia, have their genetic origin traced to one of the descendants of Japheth, son of Noah. What would be this offspring that gave rise to the Indians? The offspring in question is the offspring of Gomer's son, Togarma. Togarma is the first father of the indigenous peoples, being also the father of the Asian peoples. In addition, he is the father of the indigenous peoples of the Americas and Siberia, specifically the natives of Siberia. Togarma is the first ancestral father of the indigenous peoples, being the second, one of the tribes of the descent of Ham, father of the black peoples. But back to Togarma, the first father of indigenous peoples. The DNA tests of the genetics of indigenous peoples pointed out and found at the primary and partially majority origin of the indigenous peoples of the Americas and Russia, in the case of Siberia, came from peoples of Asia, that is, from the descent of Togarma. Togarma is one of the parents of Native Americans, being mostly the father of indigenous peoples. This is not only a genetic fact of DNA, but also an evident fact in the appearance and traits of indigenous peoples. The features and appearance of indigenous peoples are characterized by pulled eyes and dark, straight hair. The eyes pulled by themselves already denote and show where the origin of indigenous peoples came from, which is an Asian origin of Togarma descent. However, the descendants of indigenous peoples are not only descendants of Togarma, father of Asian peoples. The dark or brown skin tone, with a light brown color, refers to the descent of one of the tribes of the Hamite peoples, that is, the black peoples. Evidently, the mixture of the descendants of Togarma, who have light skin and slanted eyes, with the genetics of one of the tribes of Kam, resulted in this aspect of brownish tone, which is observed in indigenous peoples, even reaching the dark tone. Another fact to highlight is the meaning of the name Togarma. The linguistic etymology of the word refers to broken or pulled, referring to the slanted eyes of his descendants and even himself. Now, who was and how to identify the second father of indigenous peoples? Undoubtedly, the second father of the indigenous peoples is Ham, as many of them have brown and dark skin tones, which refers to the Hamite descent. In other words, indigenous peoples are a mixture of Ham and Japheth, that is, of Ham and Togarma. Brown and light brown skin tone is quite common among indigenous people. Another feature that refers to the black Hamite origin of indigenous peoples, such as the Mayans, Aztecs and Incas, is the evident presence of the Negroid nose in their sculptures. This trait is not only restricted to the indigenous peoples of the Americas, such as the Mayans, Aztecs and Incas, but is also observed elsewhere and in other indigenous peoples. An extremely interesting fact is the existence, in Africa, of a people known as Khoisans. This tribe is one of the oldest on the African continent and stands out for having characteristics such as slanted eyes and a variation in skin tones, with some individuals being lighter in color compared to other Africans. This indicates a strong genetic influence coming from the Hamite tribe, revealing a connection between the indigenous and Asian peoples of Togarma. This similarity can be observed in the native peoples of Siberia, who are very similar to Asians due to their slanted eyes, fair skin and straight dark hair. In addition, there is another ethnic group that also shares similar characteristics with Asian peoples. This is due to the same origin of indigenous peoples and Asians. More specifically, indigenous peoples descend from the Togarma peoples, who are also present in North America. In Native Americans, some have fair skin, while others have darker skin tones, and their facial features are a little more reminiscent of black people. However, the hair remains dark and straight. Interestingly, in some Asian peoples of Siberia, you can even find red hair. I would like to make a request to everyone who enjoys our series. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, please do so now. That way, you'll be notified as soon as we release a new video from the series. The studies for the production of these videos require a lot of